Dobar dan. Thank you for the introduction. It's very difficult to speak after Milica, who had a PhD on SDGs, and we coming from some other time, not so far away, but nevertheless, in '98 when I graduated on civil engineering in Macedonia and worked for 6-7 years in Water Development Institute of Republic of Macedonia, where we did a lot of designs, feasibility studies about irrigation, about forestry, about erosion, about irrigation, about wastewater treatment plant, about sewage, and many other things which really were kind of well structured and well taken from the previous system, but and then the new time came when we had other funders from the European Union and other, contributors would make that we continue this work that we have done. Unfortunately, the institute where I work was a state institute of water development, practically vanished. It doesn't exist anymore. The new time practically destroyed all that knowledge. Even we had hydrological data since 1924, which were vanished from in one flood. So my point was that we had really solid knowledge before having the SDGs, but nevertheless now we have something new, something which we have to support, we have to do. And then I switched to politics, and then I will start my presentation now. But of course the engineering knowledge stays and of course maintains from time to time. First, just a snapshot from Milica gave us a view. I will give you a snapshot. It's not a big difference, nevertheless. But our country, Macedonia, was quite, tormented in this whole process of European integration. We were the first one before Croatia, received all these stabilization association agreements signed and sealed, etc. But unfortunately, because of the blockades from the neighbors, we practically failed to continue on our European path. We became a member of NATO after a change of the name, which was done against the referendum that was in Macedonia, so the people did not support this change of the name. And also we opened the negotiation procedure, which is not still the official start of the negotiation talks. We didn't have the intergovernmental conference, which is supposed to happen after we changed the constitution, which was demanded by the other neighbor, that's Bulgaria. So the story is the same practically. Nevertheless, that doesn't stop us that we do our work on SDGs. So, sorry. Okay. So, European Union supported us as they are doing their own fulfillment. We also, as a candidate country, we have to do the same. So we are practically following the whole procedure. And of course, we are building up our strategic documents on this topic. And that will definitely give us, as I said, the old direction we had, which is complementary to the new strategies on energy and mobility solutions, sustainable economies, environmentally friendly agriculture, and of course, preservation of biodiversity. So with the EU, in partnership with EU, we have prioritization of 9 SDGs mentioned in the slide, which are in accordance to all the strategic domains and, of course, 2030 agenda. Environmental sustainability is one of our 4 priorities in Macedonia. And we embarked our mainstreaming on 2030 agenda for sustainable development into a national sustainable development plan in December 2015. So it's we are on track with the aim to develop this plan, SDG plan 2016-2030, based on this assessment of our needs and our potential. this is coordinated by the Vice Prime Minister for Economical Affairs. So this portfolio is given to this part of the government in Macedonia, but also, and this program is implemented here into every practically government program which comes to power. Definitely when they are elected, they have to also present their governmental program, and it's obviously it will be there in every government which comes to in our ruling Macedonia. So a multi-stakeholder process is launched. So we have decision makers, stakeholders, national, regional, local level. I would like to speak later on that a bit. As well, non-governmental stakeholders, academia, private sector, donor agencies, NGOs, etc., under the auspices of support of the UN Development Program in Macedonia. Practically, they are coordinating now everything, and they are publishing their reports, so they are kind of an umbrella of these goals. The objective is to prioritize SDGs, localize the targets, select local target indicators, develop a budgetary framework. Of course, if we want to do something, we need money, we need budget for that, and review the relevant national sectoral strategies for each of these topics. To lay the foundations for implementation of this agenda, we have taken the joint initiative with the United Nations to integrate the SDGs into our national planning processes, and this will start with prioritizations of the SDGs and localization of targets. All resident UN agencies, together with UNECE, I'm very happy that with us here is my colleague Ambassador Kirilievski, which is a colleague of mine from the Foreign Ministry, but also till just 1 year ago, Deputy General Secretary of UNECE and Director in UNECE. So we were quite well represented, and a pan-European we had actually in this agency, which is located in Geneva. So I think his experience is highly appreciated. So similarly, all UN agencies will support in its alignment with EU standards. Of course, we don't need different strategy. We need to stay on one track, and to exchange, of course, informations with other EU member states. So, in alignment with national policy documents, it's based on, let's say, about 30 documents, 21 state, 2 regional, 2 city, and 1 municipal level. The alignment is quite good. I would say of the documents, I'm saying of the documents, about 83%. So it's a good percentage of alignment of these basic documents. Full compliance is with goals 4, 6, 7, and 9. But the least integration is found to be in the goal 10. That's around 50%. So delegation of EU and the UN system are the key development assistance providers. We are happy for that we have a tremendous support from them, followed by the Swiss Agency for Development, Swedish International Development, GIS, Deutsche Gesellschaft Agency, and of course, overall, it's this money which we got from now on this goal is about 870 million euros. So it's quite a substantial amount of money that we have received. Institutional landscape. The Agenda 2030 requires substantial coordinated efforts among and within all national institutions and bodies. Absolutely, we need, and always the problem in our administrations is the coordination. Definitely, it's a kind of a disease in brackets, but it's very important to be coordinated, especially the key ministries which are tackling the issues. So, SDG target 10.2 is between 5 state agencies: education, transport, communication, labor, Ministry of Health, and Youth and Sport Agency. For example, SDG 16, 10 state bodies are involved in this. Then Ministry of Economy is for 40 SDG targets, Ministry of Labor 22 targets, Ministry of Education Science 29 targets, Youth and Sports Agency is also taking quite a big responsibility in this endeavor. National versus local alignment of SDG in the developing planning. I think President Đurović and also Madam Bošnjak mentioned the importance of local self-governments in this aspect. I think a lot of, especially the project that you are leading, Ms. Bošnjak, I didn't know about that. It was very interesting to find out about what are you doing and which municipalities are also in the, and we think nationally we need to enlarge this number of municipalities and talk to on local level the importance about accepting and working on SDGs. So alignment on regional level programs ranges from 32 to between 33 and 28 targets. For example, in Veles, it's in Central Macedonia, we have smart city strategy. Then we have, it's varies from city to city. I think capital Skopje, it also has a solid implementation. It has Skopje city strategic plan. So, but a lot of more work needs to be done. And that's why the awareness to the local self-governance needs to be raised and need to be approached, and they need to be well explained so they could start working or continue the work they have on this implementation of SDGs. Then the money, financing SDGs. Applied in SDG finance in Macedonia during 2008-2007 was mostly budget money. But that changed actually afterwards. And in this previous period was about 54%, but as the time was passing by, that the financing structure changed actually. And then we started to, as I previously mentioned, from all of these agencies previously mentioned, starting EU, UN, other bilateral agencies that are involved. So we reached to this number of exactly written here, 869 millions of euros, which the most of it was given to the year of SDG 16. So that's quite a substantial number. And I think, but of course, there is a lot of more space to be increased. So, as I said, development projects implemented in Macedonia is the delegation of EU and UN agency, which are playing important roles in this. Project funded by DEU, delegation of EU, in SDG context, allocated more than 193 million euros between 2016 and 2020. So it's almost 200 million of euros, which again goes to SDG 16, peaceful inclusive society, almost 70 million euros. So practically you see the concentration here of the money, what is given to I mean, coordinated through this EU delegation. But the SDG funding financing focus on new agencies in the development support is slightly different. UN sister agency Macedonia collectively allocated 106.5 million into SDG between the same period of almost 24 millions of euros in this period. So obviously EU is taking here the primary role. So at the end, just a snapshot from our ranking. This is, I think, from the latest UN report, 57 position, and regional average, country score 72.3, regional average is 71.6. As I said, it's a snapshot, so I think thank you very much for the